Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Talking Mons, our Digimon Ghost Game recap podcast. The final episode, I dare say. My name is JD, of course. Jeanette and Gary are here.
Hello.
And we are going to be talking about the last 3 episodes. We're going to have a bit of a long episode today. We're going to be doing episode 65, The Black Zone of Death, episode 66, The Black Dragon of Destruction, and episode 67, The Devourer of All. Yep, so we are finally at the end of Digimon Ghost Game. It has been a very weird journey, but we will kind of give our final wrap-up thoughts once we get to the final episode. But before that, we will start with episode 65, The Black Zone of Death. So this episode is, like, we're 3 episodes to the end, and we are just now getting to the digital world where Hiro, Ruli, and Kyo are finally able to cross over. But wouldn't you know it, evil shit is afoot. There's some kind of like infection going around, turning Digimon evil and black. And they run into I think it's called Reflezimon, this big stink flower lady. And basically she just like wrecks their shit for most of the episode. Until they're able to, worm their way out of the situation. But I'm not really sure how I felt about this episode, if only because it felt like, because it was so close to the end, that having like this Monster of the Week episode again just felt like they could have been doing more plot stuff. But yeah, I don't know. How did you guys feel about it?
I'm on board with you. I thought this was the weakest of the 3 episodes. Like, it led into some really good stuff, but it was very much like, oh gosh, we have to do setup for our ending. Let's hurry up and do some setup and then slap it all together, and then we'll throw it through the next 2 episodes. And it's like, you effers, you should have been setting this up like way before. Like, I don't know. I enjoyed it. Like, there was some really cool body horror stuff, but it was definitely the weakest of the 3, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely agree. It's not that the content is bad, it's where the content is. Because being the first of the last 3 episodes, it just felt rushed. I mean, like what you said about Monster of the Week, it felt like Monster of the Week, and it should have been like happened like a few episodes beforehand. Like this whole entire arc, I guess, should have been several episodes longer.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you. Like, only having like basically 3 episodes where you actually get to see the digital world for once. Yeah, it just feels extremely like crammed in there.
And
like,
it's not. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead, Gary.
Well, it's not just seeing the digital world for the first time being crammed in there, but people like a massive amount of Digimon interacting with the real world in general. That felt like it was glossed over because
yeah.
we find out that like a huge amount of Digimon just suddenly cross over and it's affecting everyone, and also all digital technology basically stopped working, so everything is like stuck in analog. And I wish that we have at least one episode going like dealing with this whole entire situation. We get clips of that here and there in the next episode, but it's like very short. Like
And sorry, go ahead, Jeanette.
Yeah, I definitely felt like there were points where I was way more invested in what was going on in the other world, and we see so little of it. And like, I don't know, it would have been really cool if they threaded, like, again, just threading the whole thing together. They just didn't have enough time and they had too many moving parts. But it would have been nice if they threaded together like what was happening in the real world with like Kira's dad, who I wish I could have seen of more over the last 3 episodes, and Hira's friends and all that. And it felt a little unbalanced, and it did like, we'll get into it, but it's like that part I really felt like was a letdown. Like, they let the ball drop in that sense, and that we didn't have this big old, like, all the characters come together more than just a few scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then you guys are kind of saying that, like, about how, like, we kind of wish that we would have seen more of, like, okay, like, all the Digimon from the digital world are being, like, dumped out into the real world because, like, the connection to their world is being cut off, and they're just kind of running havoc over the city. like now that I'm kind of thinking about it, I think that would have been a nice opportunity to kind of give the secondary characters that are familiar with the Digimon, so like Hiro's friend, Ruli's friend, all like the friends that have like they know what Digimon are now and have interacted with them. That one girl that took the Gekomon in, it would have been nice to like see them kind of come back, and maybe they're like, oh shit, we kind of know what this is, maybe we can like help. And so you could see like them interacting with it to kind of give them a little more to do. But you see like Hero's friend like right at the end of the last episode, but like you don't see anybody else.
Yeah.
Well, you see the guy who fucked the cat. He realizes that was not a hologram. He realizes it's a real Digimon. I'm just saying the stuff that we really need to be tied up.
Yeah.
Like this episode, like the points before we head into the digital world could have been 2 episodes. One about dealing with all the influx of Digimon, and 2 is finding a way to it, because Kazuamon just suddenly appeared in this episode, like at the beginning, just right outside their window. It's like, here, I can open up the portal for you, but only limited amount of time.
Yeah.
The beginning was like the first like 10 minutes was just such Deus Ex Machina, or however you say it. Like everything is like, oh, you have this problem, here's the solution. You have this problem, here's the solution. And it's
I mean, for sure, yeah.
And then some of it just gets comical, like the as you said, the Digimon lady appeared to me like, I will open this portal for you. Like
yeah, just because it needs to happen. It's not because like they called her. She just like shows up like for unprompted.
It's literally a Deus Ex Machina.
Right.
Yeah, it's literally, we don't have time to do a setup. Here's a explanation pulled out of our butt.
So yeah, I would have enjoyed this more if this wasn't like so close to the end. Like if it was a couple episodes back, or there was a couple more episodes between this and the end, I probably wouldn't be so hard on it. But because we are working with such a limited time, that the A plot of this is like feels like such a story that like this should have been an earlier story of them just like dealing with this Digimon for an episode. And all the interesting stuff of like the Digimon wreaking havoc in the real world, like that's just kind of like an aside. It's not like the main focus.
And I'm not saying like they need to spend like a whole ton of time on it, but it's like they could have easily done like double or even like 2.5 more episodes than they did, covering all the stuff that they covered in the last 3 episodes.
Definitely.
Yeah, like given how many time gap we have during the airing of the show, if we didn't have like skipped a few weekend without an episode, I feel like that would have made things a lot better if we ended on the same day.
Yeah. I feel like if we could have just cut like some of the filler, like some of the Monster of the Week episodes, which I know they were really into that format, but at the same time, there's clearly a story they wanted to tell at the end, and they didn't have the time to tell it.
I have a theory on that, but let's I'll talk about it after we finish the remaining episodes.
Sounds good.
Well, that was all I got for that episode. Do you guys have anything else?
I really like Hero's dad. I think he's funny. I think he's great.
Hakuto is a silly man.
Yeah, we need it more.
Yeah. The show needed him more.
Definitely.
Hero needs his dad to be around more. That's all I can say.
I think we could say that out of a lot of anime children. They just need their parents around more.
Jeremy Snow here, owner and editor-in-chief of The Geekly Grind. I'm interrupting your awesome, regularly scheduled programming to ensure that you know about our Geekly Grind podcast network, of which this show is a treasured member of. If you haven't had a chance to check out our site, you can do so at www.thegeeklygrind.com, and while you're there, check out the other members of our steadily growing podcast family, including the anime-centric Blake and Spencer Get Jumped, discovering new heroes and comic book keepers with Chris and Lance, exploring the vast universe of geekdom with Geeksploration, or of course appreciating animation's finer details with the Ink and Paint Club. Escape your weekly grind at the Geekly Grind.
Alright, we will go ahead and move on to episode 66, The Black Dragon of Destruction. So this episode is like half a fight with he's a new-ish Digimon. I know him mostly from the card game, which I think is where he's first appeared this recently. Bloom Lordmon, who is this giant like plant knight man, and he's like super redonkulous powerful. But the kids show up to him and basically are demanding to see his lord because they want answers, and he doesn't, and Bloom Lordmon doesn't really know if they're like friendly or if they're with the Dark Conqueror guy who's fucking up everything. So he has to fight them because you do. And this all basically just culminates in Gulus Gamamon finally breaking free and just like losing his ever-loving shit. So I really liked the fight with Bloom Lordmon, and I liked seeing how they were just so horribly unmatched for him. Like everybody went mega, and he was just like no effort, like throwing them down. And it takes to Gulu's Gamamon like taking over, and we finally see his evolution. Whose name Regulusmon. For like them to finally like stop Bloom Lordmon. That has its own ramifications, but that fight was awesome.
Oh, I agree. It was rad.
And it even ramps up even more with the second half of the episode where I guess they get pulled into a weird mind dimension because they're able to rip Gamamon and Gulus into two separate bodies, but it's not a real body. It's like a spirit battle, I guess, because like Regulusmon needs to defeat Gamamon, like good Gamamon, in order to take over the body. And like oh yeah, by the way, we finally understand what the fuck the Dark Conqueror stuff was about. And I think the explanation is super stupid.
Oh yeah, it is a lot. It is dumb as hell.
Oh, and believe me, it gets dumber. We'll get to it. Yeah, so basically, the reason that all of these Digimon in the digital world were like getting corrupted and all this is so Gulu's Gamamon is like part goo, so he's kind of like a symbiote or something. And he left a little bit of his goo in the digital world when Gamamon went to the real world, and he's just been messing with stuff while everyone's been gone. And really all he wants to do, like his big evil plan, is he just wants to be the strongest and to destroy everything. That's just what he do.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of really dumb stuff, but I do think there's an interesting duality between Gamamon, who's not Gamamon, who just wants to love everyone, and Ghouls, whatever. We'll call him Ghouls. Ghouls just wants, he's very much a do it himself, hates everyone, just wants to kill everyone, and he's a loner. Like it's a very much a duality of two different sides to Gamamon's self, and Gamamon ultimately like has to reconcile that. And this episode, next episode, is him reconciling that.
Yeah.
But that motivation is also kind of stupid when the next episode is put into context as well. I mean,
It's sloppy. It is sloppy writing.
I'm not in the least bit surprised that shocker Gulu's Gamamon is secret bad guy. Like, of course he was going to be the final bad guy.
Oh yeah, totally expecting.
Actually, spoiler, they never do anything with that crystal.
Yeah, they don't, do they?
The
Millennium Bot is completely dropped.
He just sits there in a crystal chilling.
What's worse is that they showed it last episode.
They did.
Like,
because like
Hero was
like
just
fiddling with it.
It's like nothing. Like he didn't ask his dad about it or other Digimon. No.
No, he's just he ends the series as a paperweight.
Yeah, no, pretty much. Yeah. But yeah, so this is me just knowing, just seeing other material. Again, I was not surprised that Gulus Gamamon was secret bad guy because
Of course, of fucking course.
well, because I'd seen his entire evolution line, because shocker, there is a Mega Gulus Gamamon. His name is Arcturusmon, and he's basically a dark, serious mon, except he has drills for hands. And then there's a fusion of both of their megas into this weird dragon centaur man. It's very weird. Which we don't see either of those. He only ever gets up to Regulusmon, which, whatever. So, but yeah, yeah, and this episode ends on, I'd say like a suspenseful cliffhanger, but we all know it's going to be all right in the end. Because basically the episode ends on Siriusmon getting a big hole in his chest and doing the Digimon equivalent of bleeding out.
He's dying. I got really emotional when it happened. It was because I was really like, these episodes, like, they're sloppy. They have writing issues, but they do hit some really good emotional beats. And I got really into like the second to last episode and the last episode. And I was all like screaming at the TV screen. I was like, no, not my baby, not Gamamon. Because Gamamon's my precious baby boy. That's all I can say.
Yeah. Sorry, Gary. I feel like we've been talking over you. I don't know if you had anything to say about this episode.
No, this episode is just, I agree with pretty much everything you guys said about this episode. It's a lot of spectacle, which I welcome, but plot-wise, again, they crammed in a lot too much in too little amount of time.
Oh, I just remembered another thing from the previous episode where the scientist person who died like back in episode 15 or whatever.
Oh,
and it turned
yeah.
out he lied. They explained it like, yeah, you're not actually going to turn to dust if you go through the gate. He just lied.
Yeah. It's like, no, they're
A
just,
plus story.
you're fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
The ultimate eraser to any plot relevant stuff. We
Yeah.
just lied.
Sure. But
why not?
He said that they're not ready to know. But he also didn't elaborate why weren't they ready to know.
Because they had to go on magical adventures. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Gary said, like, this episode has a lot of spectacle. But yeah, it's just like, I was really kind of bummed out to finally realize like what Gulus Gamamon's ultimate plan was. Is just like, nope, he's just evil, bad for the sake of being bad, I guess. Except
spoiler.
Except for next episode, where I guess maybe he might not be, but his motivation seems very dumb in one note.
He's Venom. He's just Venom.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. That's kind of what he is. He's Venom because he does want to eat everybody, like, very literally.
Devourer.
He is the devourer.
I got one more thing, because there's all sorts of magical little tidbits throughout these episodes. There's the fact that like the Dark Bergermon appears, and they're like, "Where's Dark Lizardman?" And he's just like, "He's dead."
It sure is.
Oh yeah, this little thing you just reminded me. And then finish your point, and then
No, that's all I got. Like, they appear and they're like, "What happened to this previous character who had that really good episode that ended on a really sad note?" And they're just like, "Yeah, he's dead." And then Dark Bergermon, or whatever his name is, just fucks off.
He's like, "Peace out, people. I'm out of here.
Good luck, don't die."
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what they literally say. Just don't die.
But about this after the last episode, they flew to this island where there was just like, oh yeah, the voice is coming from that island. This whole entire sequence would have been like a 5 or 10 episode arc in previous series, but no, they just fly it over.
Yep.
Like, it's not a journey to find and discover. It's just, oh, here's
there
the
it is.
Point of the quest. Let's fast travel there.
Yeah, pretty much.
It was a little anticlimactic on how they find the place.
We are a modern generation. We don't wander around a map lost anymore. We just fast travel from point to point. Let's
speak for yourself.
Like the last episode, they said that all the Digimon in this like land is corrupted and they're dangerous. We literally only fought one Digimon that's that.
Yeah.
Like, you think even if they know the location, and they're flying there. I was kind of expecting, well, not expecting. I was hoping, because with the short amount of time, I couldn't expect much. But I was hoping that there was at least some note of danger while flying through that they have to dodge around.
Yeah, it's
Like,
just like there's other corrupted Digimon. We're not really gonna show them to you. You just got to take our word for this. And like they do show like a dark Koagabon and a dark Brachiomon at like one point, but they're not doing anything. They're just standing around.
They're just minding their own business.
I guess, but they're supposed to be like evil rage monsters. I don't know. This episode was pretty and had some pretty awesome action scenes, but like it very much carries right into the next episode. So I guess we can just like get into that one. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and start episode 67, The Devourer of All, which is the finale of Digimon Ghost Game. And put your seatbelts on, kids. It's gonna get crazy. Yeah, so this episode picks up right after the last one. Sirius Mon is laying there with a big old hole in his chest, dying. And after like the mysterious voice comes to Hiro and said like, "Hey, I'm basically gonna stop time for a minute so that you can go into like Gamamon's spirit realm and like go save him." And then they have like this really heartwarming, like, because Gamamon is like in his own little spirit world, dying, like dissolving and stuff. But Hiro goes in, has this nice, like, really emotional scene with him, and Gamamon's like, "I am your little brother," and then he just reforms because that's what he does. Yeah, so then Siriusmon is resurrected. He's fine, and he just beats the ever loving shit out of Regulusmon with his bare hands because his knife gun arms get destroyed. So there's just man hands under there, I guess. Kind of like
No, it was
really weird.
Okay, like every form hits Ghoul's Gamon at least once. It's really rad.
Was amazing. That was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, because for somehow to defeat Regulusmon in the end, Gamamon just rapid fires through all of his evolutions. Like Siriusmon's coming at him, Regulusmon's about to stab him, but like he's just like shoots back into Gamamon, so he's tiny, so he evades the attack. And then you just see like all of his champions, like he rapid fires them, then he goes back up to Kano Weissmon, and then he goes back into Siriusmon to finish it off. And then he ends up eating Regulusmon. Like that was kind of his Regulusmon's thing. Like he wanted to eat everybody and gain power and stuff, but like Siriusmon sucked him into him, and I guess Gamamon and Gulus had a reconciliation because like, all right, we're gonna have to share this body, but you're gonna have to like abide by some rules. And he's just cool with that, I guess. Like he just admits defeat almost immediately.
Well, because he got devoured.
Yeah.
So he follows his own world.
I mean, I could go on to this little explanation that I think Ghoul's Gamamon just goes by the rules that he respects who's ever the strongest. He's just always been the strongest until Gamamon wrecked him, but really he's just Gamamon's little bitch now.
Sure. So if that was it, sure. Okay. But it just gets crazy from here.
Like, exposition.
Oh my gosh.
So exposition. So yeah, Regulusmon, Gulus Gamamon is taken care of, and Bloom Lordmon's like, okay, cool. My lord said they'll see you now. And I'm like, okay, cool. So they go into this big castle thing, and it's this Digimon named Quantummon. It's like this weird lady with a weird metal clock face or something. I don't know what it's supposed to be. But lo and behold, everything was their doing. They were the one that sent the Digimon to the real world, and they were the ones like helped Hiro's dad make the Digivices, and she's been spying on them through the Digivice the entire time, and like monitoring them to like see how human emotion and Digimon interact or whatever. And she wanted to like find a way to make the Digimon and the humans work together, but she ran like a bajillion simulations and none of them worked out. So we just got to cut off the digital world from the human world, whatever.
Look at you, Digimon cry.
Yeah. And it is this point that we find out that, hey, not really gonna expound on this, but Gamomon's from space, like outer space.
Yeah, like not even implied as a Digimon.
No,
Yeah,
he's just an alien from space. Like,
escaping from this like ever more powerful thing that devoured his
yeah,
home.
so he basically says that the reason he was doing this is because he's been sent to Earth, or he came to Earth to basically devour everything so that he could gain enough power to fight the actual devourer, which is basically a giant like sun hurtling through space that like just destroys everything. And he makes it sound so urgent. And then they're like, "Oh shit, this is gonna like destroy the Earth. How long do we have?" And he's like, by your years, probably about like 2,000 years. And everyone's like, "Oh, okay, cool. That's fine. We'll figure it out by then." And then like all the Digimon freak out. It's like, "No, God, we had to do something about this now." Yeah, that's it, and then they're like, "Okay, cool. Well, I guess Digimon and humans will be living together. You guys are gonna go back to the real world and set up a new country." Like, these children are gonna set up an independent nation.
Listen,
Where-
technically Kyo's graduated. Kyo can do adult stuff. He shouldn't, but he can.
Fucking Hero is on the Kyo is on the fucking phone with, I assume, the American president. Fucking Ruli's over here writing a national anthem. They're making flyers to like, "Hey, do you want to move to this nondescript country that we're not going to really elaborate on, so you can live in harmony with Digimon, because that's just a thing we need to do?" Sure, why not? You get to see Hero's friend like one last time, where he like turns his weird little begging thing on him and like wants him to come help out with the structure of a new nation. And like you don't really get to see what that entails. They're just like, they show you in the process of like doing stuff, and they have to like fly over the world and have like summits with every country. Like Kyo is like, "Damn, Africa's far away."
Ruli's friends are just moving to the new country.
Yeah, that's like Ruli's just like, "Hey, you want to move here?" Like tiny middle school child. Yeah, and then it just fucking ends with like Hero and Gamamon like just like, "Yeah, we're good pals," and then it ends.
Not gonna lie, this was the stupidest thing since Digimon Adventure 2.
Oh my god. Like I would say, as much as I have a problem with the fucking epilogue of season 2, at least it was well paced. Like, my god, like the amount of exposition they dump after the commercial break is just like, gave me fucking whiplash.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, I could not keep up. I could not keep up. I was just like distracted.
Like, I could be fine if it was like, yeah, okay, Quantumon has been doing this, has been the secret puppet master behind all of this, and like she's not like evil or anything. She's just doing this for like data reasons, even though like Hero gets kind of pissed off about it, but
yeah, but she also wants to save the Digimon from the corrupting influence of Gulu's Gamamon. So that's why she like cut off the digital world, because it's like, oh, it's a lost cause. All the Digimons over there are safe.
Oh, and hey, do you remember all those times that Gulu's Gamamon showed up, and then like a dark version of a Digimon would show up in the background for like a hot second, and we thought like, oh, maybe that's like his minions? Like, no, those are just Quantumon's like fucking little that's her minions that were like supposed to be checking on Gulu's to make sure he's not like fucking shit up too much. So that was nice to get an explanation of, but whatever.
Well, but
I do appreciate Black Tailmon's cameo in the end, where he's like, "Don't involve me in this shit. Just ignore me. I want nothing to do with this."
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, it's when you, I know we talked about maybe like all those people, all those Digimon are Gulu's Gamamon's follower. Like, it actually made sense in this episode if they were. Because
yes.
he was building an army to fight off that big giant devouring thing in the sky. That was his motivation. That
okay, I'm I'm gonna put out there all the time we complained about this series not having a plot. It clearly was better off without one. I'm just saying.
No, I don't mind all of these. It's just that when they compress all of these plot into less than 3 episodes, it becomes crap. Okay.
Gary, they cram so much plot into about 2 minutes.
Yeah, we have 60 episode plus somewhat of more or less Monster of the Week where we could have been exploring some of these things. Oh my god. And
You know what? I'm actually okay we didn't. I'm actually okay. I think I can live with just this shitty last 3 plot wise, like some really cool action set pieces, and just be like, yeah, I'm out.
So
Yeah.
I have a theory on why the production was like this.
I do too. You go.
I go. If you go, I mean, do
Yeah.
you guys have anything
You
more
go
to go on
first.
this episode?
Go ahead, Gary.
Okay. Well, I think COVID kind of messed things up production-wise, and left a huge time slot that they don't know when it's gonna get filled up. So when this show was in production already, they just told him stretch things as far as they can, and when something new is finished and ready to go, we'll just end it.
I guarantee. And I bet like I feel like because there was no like set for how long this series was going to be, I feel like there was just no way for them to plot it until they're like, yeah, we're ending your show in 3 weeks or 4 weeks or however.
If that is indeed the case, I guess I could kind of forgive it. If it weren't for Digimon Adventure 2020, which I feel has almost the exact same problem as this ending, where so much is just crammed in right at the end. Like, you guys could have been like delving into this for like many episodes, but like you get to the last 2 or 3 episodes and we're just gonna cram in all of the plot that was supposed to be in the last 60 episodes.
Yeah, and I'm definitely a lot less amused the second time around, you know. And I if I remember correctly, these series have the same like director or whatever, I think.
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure they do.
So I think that might be the problem then.
Maybe.
Possibly if they have the same producer and they have scheduling issue with actual airing dates, then I think that's what affects the writing and the plot wise. Like, I feel like there's a lot going on here that have potential in these last 3 episodes. Again, if it's spread out more, and even if it's like at the very end, it's separated into like different seasons. Like first season, all in the real world, and then towards the end of the first season, we see that all the Digimon rush in, and then second season, they found a way at the end of the first season to go into the digital world, and then new adventure all in the digital world, trying to avoid the corruption and find the mystery. And we like cut back and forth between like the events going on in the real world and the digital world. And then afterward, last season, after the whole like random evil alien thing, devouring thing, that could have been a big, huge thing where the ending last few minutes about them building a country, it's not them building a country. It's them like actually trying to get all the people to work together with the Digimon to like solve this problem. And maybe that 2,000 years is actually wrong. It's a lot faster approaching.
We gotta get all the humans and all the give their energy so we form the spirit bomb.
So,
I would have been okay with that. That's very anime.
Yeah, like with like 60 some episodes, it literally could have been 3 seasons of anime with 3 coherent plots.
Like, I kind of just want to. Now I'm just kind of wishing this end would have been like fighting back a giant meteor with the power of friendship.
That would have been beautiful.
Yeah.
But I think there's like 2 dueling thoughts in my head. The first is I really think this director just really cares for the more mundane, minute-to-minute like aspects and human stories of day-to-day life, and he just does not care for grand arcing anime stories that Digimon is really supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then the other thought is there are actually a lot of really good pieces in the last 3 episodes. It's just there's so much potential that's clearly wasted, and I think a lot of it is just like the execution of the series.
Yeah.
Like it could have been like I had a lot of fun with the last three, but it could have been so much more, and it just isn't.
Yeah.
That country shit was never gonna fly though. That Digimon country, like that was always gonna be dumb as hell.
Actually, I would have been fine if they never went into the digital world at all. If there's such a pacing problem at the end, what if like the problem is solved in the real world instead of the digital world? Like they fight the whole thing with Gulu's Gamamon that happens in the real world, and we meet Quantummon in the real world and figure out that because all the actual story point up to that time makes sense on why the Digimon are all rushing into the real world. The digital world is dying. Okay, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So why not just solve the problem here and don't deal with the whole weird like going into the digital world and then the devouring thing from the space thing?
Yeah. Like yeah, like for as little as we got to see the digital world, I'm kind of at the point where like I kind of wish we didn't see it at all.
I agree. Like I'm with Gary on this. Like the digital world, going to the digital world added nothing to the series.
Yeah, and I know Quantumon at some point saying that Digimon and humans is incompatible and such, but they have a small montage of like Digimon and human helping each other out during the whole crisis and everything. So that could be her being in the real world could have been like a way for her to witness firsthand on actually the people getting along with Digimon.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, but what could have been? But yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, we really had to have that cat fucking episode.
Yeah, you really did. But so I guess to wrap us up here, I guess now that we are complete, how do you guys feel about this series as a whole?
It was all right. Like I'd give it like a 6 out of 10, 6 maybe. If I'm feeling generous, I'd give it a 7 out of 10. If probably more like a 6 out of 10. Like I don't regret my time with it. It's not something I would have sat with and watched the entire series of if I hadn't been doing a podcast. But it was all right. I really like the Digimon designs they introduced in this. There's a lot of cool Digimon. I really liked it. It just kind of was meh, but okay, meh.
I feel like this is a fun show, but it's not a great show. This thing is the whole journey thing and not the ending. Like I do love a lot of episodes in the middle because some of their daily shenanigan is really fun to watch. And
Mhm.
Monster of the Week is fun to watch. And the horror
Yeah,
aspect. I mean, it's all great, but when you add in the end, it's just kind of meh.
Yeah, like there's a lot of data. I enjoy watching the day-to-day stuff. I got really attached to the characters. It just didn't really feel very Digimon, you know? It just felt very
Yeah.
like it's kind of like the series where you follow the story of the Japanese spirits and each one is a different Japanese spirit story every week. It felt like one of those shows.
Mm-hmm.
And then it tried to be a Digimon show at the end and it just didn't quite work.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you. Like, I definitely didn't hate the journey of this show. Like, I thought the whole concept of like, oh, we're gonna make a spooky Digimon, and there was plenty of like legitimately spooky shit in this show, and like I will give them that.
Yeah,
Um,
it beat Genji Ito's ass for doing like good body horror.
like
Somehow.
I loved the characters. I loved the three main characters. I loved their dynamic together. I liked getting to see a lot of Digimon that like returned from previous seasons, ones we probably haven't seen before. Finally getting some animation attention. I really dug all three of the new like main Digimon. Like Gabumon, Jellymon, and Angoramon are solid uh like solid designs, solid characters. We have our gripes with Lamortmon, but
Grown on
everything.
me. I'm not gonna lie.
I still love the Mortmon. I love that whole
It's-
dynamic between the beast and the gentleman kind of thing.
it has grown on me. I'll admit.
And if there's one, just to touch real quick, if there's one thing I really regret about the ending, it's that they really did like Rory and Kyo a disservice. They barely did anything in the ending, and like they were too much of characters in the show for the show. The show did them dirty.
Yeah, it definitely became the Hero and Gamamon show at the end there. But I think what I want to say is that I'm not gonna let a subpar ending kind of ruined my enjoyment of everything that led up to it. For all of my gripes of like, hey, can we move this plot along? It was still fun, and I think that's
Mhm.
ultimately what I want out of Digimon is just for it to be fun. Because it's a fun, doofy adventure story, and
Mhm.
we put a spooky ghost twist on it this time, which is something we hadn't seen from Digimon before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
And I
So,
definitely and yeah, I enjoyed like watching it every week and seeing my spooky story, and I'm gonna miss it.
mm,
And if there's future Digimon, I will. I mean, there is at least the Digimon Adventure too. Like I'm gonna check it out and watch it. I It was
yeah.
a good time. It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was a great, like, amazing time, but it was a good time.
yeah, and for how bad the ending is, it's still somehow with its lore consistent with everything we've seen so far. Like it
Hmm.
makes sense still, even though it is badly written. Like compared to
Mhm.
other shows, like say, I don't know if you guys watch Star versus the Forces of Evil.
Yeah.
That
I've
the,
heard.
the ending to that
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
The ending's not great.
Like it's not great, but it also doesn't make any sense in the context of the story.
Hmm.
At least this, mm, it's as stupid as it is, it still makes sense. I would give it
It
that.
does. Yeah, it does play by the rules of the universe.
Yeah. But yeah, so that'll close the book on Digimon Ghost Game. We've completed yet another Digimon series. Yeah, there is no new Digimon show right now. Like it wasn't like with Adventure 2020 and a week later Ghost Game started. I think right now they're working on this weird project called Digimon Seekers, which is like part novel, part weird campaign, like just media campaign they're doing. It's not a
Mhm.
show. I think in like this last week when we're recording this is when they've started releasing like the first chapter of it, like piece by piece. I haven't really read it yet, but it could be interesting. But yeah, that's all we got for Ghost Game. I guess thank you everybody if you've stuck around this long to make it to the end with us.
It wasn't
That,
about the ending. It was about the friends we made along the way.
Oh, that
exactly.
is actually perfect description for the show.
Yeah, exactly. We don't currently have any plans for any other like shows, but if there is something you would like us to in the future, by all means, let us know, and we will definitely take it into consideration. Because like I've said before, I do enjoy having our bi-weekly chats with you guys, with you two. So it's been
Mhm.
really great doing
Aw.
this with my good friends.
Aw. It really was the friends we made along the way.
But yeah, everybody, thank you out there for listening along with us. I hope that you enjoyed listening to us talk about Ghost Game, following along, watching it every week. And yeah, I guess that'll just about do it. Thanks again, stay safe, and we'll catch you again sometime. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.